In the fast-moving world of news, it's easy to miss the meaning between the lines. That's where we come in. Each episode, we take real headlines from Newsline Philippines and let AI break them down. Not just the what, but the why it matters.
Welcome to our deep dive today. We're looking at a really significant legal development, bringing a dramatic case, one that's over a decade old, right back into the spotlight.
Yeah, it's quite something.
Our mission here is to sort of unpack the key facts, explore what it all implies, and really try to understand what this verdict means for you.
And we're basing this on a recent piece by Editha Z. Kaduaya in Newsline Philippines. It reports on a major court decision, one handed down just this week, actually. It's caused quite a stir.
Okay, so let's get into it. I mean, this case has been talked about for so long, over a decade, right? It's been simmering, shaping how people think about justice, about police accountability.
Definitely.
So what exactly was the Atimonan Shootout, and what's this latest twist?
Right, so to really get the latest news, we need to rewind back to 2013. That's when the Atimonan Shootout happened. It resulted in the tragic deaths of 13 people.
Including Vic Siman, who was quite well known.
Exactly, Vic Siman was among them. And you're right, this wasn't just some local incident. It really exploded onto the national scene. Sent shockwaves, you could say.
And what made it blow up like that? What created such immediate and, well, lasting national attention?
Well, what's really striking is just how immediate and deep the impact was. It instantly raised these really serious questions about police operations. And, allegations of rubouts started flying, that term people use for suspected extrajudicial killings made to look like legitimate encounters. The public was demanding answers.
So things moved quickly after the incident.
They did. Following the shootout, 13 police officers, and this included Police Colonel Hansel Marantan, were actually jailed. They spent almost 5 years locked up while the investigations and the trial crawled forward.
Wow, nearly 5 years in jail, just waiting. So you have these officers behind bars, the whole country watching. Now let's fast forward. 13 years of legal battles, intense public focus, families waiting.
A really long, drawn-out process.
And then, Monday, June 23rd, 2025. A huge development. This is where it gets really interesting, right? The court cleared Marantan and all 12 of the other accused officers.
Cleared them of all charges.
So the big question everyone's asking is, why? Why an acquittal after all this time, after such a high-profile case, especially with 13 deaths involved?
That's the core of it. The court's reasoning came down to insufficient evidence to convict. And this, it really underlines that critical gap sometimes between maybe what the public believes happened or suspects happened and what the prosecution can actually prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court.
Right, the burden of proof.
Exactly. And think about it. In cases that drag on this long, evidence can become problematic. Witnesses' memories might fade, maybe initial forensic findings get reevaluated, chain of custody issues, lots of things can weaken the case over time.
And for Police Colonel Marantan himself, almost 5 years in jail, over a decade with these charges hanging over him, this acquittal must have been just immense relief.
Oh, undoubtedly. He spoke to Newsline Philippines, actually. He said, "The feeling is redemption and vindication. I am vindicated and I am relieved."
You can really feel the weight lifting there.
Yeah, and he shared something quite emotional about his parents, too. He mentioned, "After the gavel banged, the thought of my parents came into my mind. Hinintay nila ang araw na ito."
Which means?
It translates to, they had waited for this very day. Really brings home the personal side of this long ordeal.
It really does.
And if we zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture for you listening. This isn't just about one specific case anymore. This verdict, coming after 13 long years, it's like a window into just how complex these extended legal battles are.
The human cost, you mean?
Absolutely. The human cost, the decades of uncertainty. Think about the lives put on hold, the immense financial strain, the emotional toll it takes on absolutely everyone involved.
Yeah, the accused, their families seeking vindication.
And the victims' families, too, seeking justice and closure, often for years, without any clear answers. It really says a lot about how these judicial processes impact lives so deeply for so long.
So where does this leave us? We've got this case over a decade old, 13 lives lost, 13 police officers accused, and now acquitted because of insufficient evidence. It definitely leaves you thinking.
It really does. It underscores just how hard it can be to get those definitive legal outcomes, especially when what the public might feel and what the law requires for proof don't quite match up.
So here's something to mull over.
Consider this. When you have a case this high profile, one that ignited a national conversation and involves such a tragic loss of life, what does an acquittal based purely on insufficient evidence truly mean for our collective sense of justice? And maybe more pointedly, what does it mean for accountability, especially for law enforcement, and ultimately for public trust in the legal system itself looking ahead?